When it comes to supplements, quality matters just as much as what you eat. That's why I only recommend Fullscript to all of my clients. A trusted source for high quality, professional grade supplements that are pure, potent, and backed by science. No fillers, no junk, just the best to support your hormones, digestion, energy, and overall health. Plus, with up to 20% off on auto ship and free shipping and handling, you get premium supplements at the best price delivered straight to your door. Can you ask for any better? Ready to stock your wellness cabinet with the real solutions? Shop my Fullscript favorites right in the link in the show notes.
Welcome back to Everyday Health for the Christian Woman. I am so thrilled to have you back here with me. And today is part 2 of my 2-part interview with Melinda Chapman. Today, we're going to get really, really practical. You're going to hear a story, a transformation story to give you hope and peace. And we're also going to give you some practical first steps that you can begin taking today to feel like your money is not leading you, but you are leading it. Melinda, thank you so much for joining me again today.
Yes, thank you for having me again.
Yes. We went over so many great things. I can hardly wait to just dive into more. You have so much to share. So I would love to hear about a woman that you have worked with who came to you feeling just overwhelmed or afraid of her finances and what changed once she had just a clear, simple plan. What changed?
So I want to tell you about the woman who is a teacher. She was making, between her and her husband, they had a dual income, making well over 6 figures. And she was still, the breaking point for her was the day that she overdrafted trying to pay the electric bill. And she was nearing 50 years old and still getting supplemental money from her parents.
Wow.
And had been married more than 20 years, but still she just, she liked nice things and she would spend money not knowing where the money was going. And so the day that her electric bill overdrafted is the day that she and I had our first conversation.
Wow.
And we worked together for nearly 2 years. But from that first conversation on, she's never overdrafted since then. That's
I
been
love it.
nearly 4 years now. We still do incremental conversations, just check-ins. But she did not know where her money was going, did not know what she wanted to accomplish with her money. And so when we first started working together, there was that, every month right on the edge. Like she wasn't going into a lot of debt, but she was just right there on the edge. But she felt like that her money responsibility or her money decisions were from her husband or from her parents. Like they were always going to bail her out, right? And so we had been working together for probably about 9 months to a year. And she said, I want to do a 5K at Disney and I want to pay for it myself. I want to totally fund it for myself. And so we just started, that was it was almost like a reverse engineer. Okay, this is what you want. Now let's back it up. And how are we going to get there? So every month, and not only that, every month she started putting money aside for that. But not only that, out of that came them putting aside the money to pay for their son's private schooling and then also his summer camp. So she was, like when she was living on the edge, every month she felt like she didn't know where that money was going to come from. Like she would just barely have the money to clear to pay for her son's private school or to pay for his summer camp. Now that money is in there and it goes in automatically. Like it's just automatic. And she knows when she goes to pay that bill, the money is there. She gets to choose.
I love it. I love it. Because so often people think, well, the people who have peace and confidence with their money, they have a lot of it. But you're literally giving us an example of somebody who had a lot, but still didn't have that peace and that confidence, just anxious over her money. So what would you say are the top 1 or 2 just simple habits that can reduce that anxiety really quickly in regards to money?
So one of the things that I practice and that I ask all of my clients to practice is any time that they're shopping, and we'll just take Amazon as an instance because everybody, the Amazon guy pulls up, and I've actually had 2 or 3 here in, FedEx and 2 Amazon guys at the same time, which is embarrassing.
Yes.
Still yet, I do shop Amazon, but it has to stay in the cart at least 24 to 48 hours. We set that up when we first start working together.
Yes.
How long do you want? What do you think your tolerance is? But it's minimum of 24 hours it stays in the cart because you get to decide how important that really is to you. And you get to think about it for a little bit before you just hit purchase.
And it's so easy. I mean, it's just like, bam, it's like that golden finger kind of thing. No, I love it. I do the same thing because what's really tempting is all of these influencers show you, oh, you can get this for $7.99. Normally it's $50. And so you just want to buy it right away, but it ends up being something you really don't want. And so, yes, I love that. Putting it in your cart, leaving it there for as long as you need to so that you're in your thinking mind and actually making a conscious decision instead of being influenced. And that gives more peace and confidence and helps you not feel like a victim. Because I just feel like all of this just mindless spending, it actually makes you feel more like a victim when you're really not. And so it's interesting.
You start to blame the purchases and you start to blame the companies. And yes, it is their job to make it easy.
Yes.
And one thing, when I'm working with client, I ask them to not use Afterpay. I had a client who was using an Afterpay app and she said, this was just $4.99 a month and this was just $7.99 a month. The next thing she knew, she was paying over $300 a month in Afterpays because it's just so easy, right?
Yes, yes. Oh my goodness. Yes. So that leads me to money, stress, and marriage. Because, let's just face it. Honestly, my husband and I literally had an argument last night. And what was it over? It was over money. And I'm just like, so I'm thinking about this and I'm like, oh, this is ridiculous. That's what we argued about yesterday. So what are some healthy ways to start money conversations with your spouse, especially if there's been any kind of avoidance of it or past conflict? What are some healthy tips that you have?
Sit down with phones off. Kids are, distracted, busy at a neighbor's or grandma's, or they're not in the room.
Yes.
Sit down in a peaceful place. Maybe you even take your electronics or take however you look at your money and go to the park or somewhere where it's just peaceful and quiet. That might be a little distracting, but whatever is, find a peaceful, quiet place for you. And then just open it up and look at, okay, write down, we have this much money coming in every single month and from all sources. You would be surprised how many people really don't know how much money they have coming in from all sources. And so then you'd make a list. All right, this is the things that are not negotiable. Like they're going to come out every single month, no matter what we do. That might be your mortgage, your gas, your electric, your water, whatever, like those kinds of things. And then you make another list is the things that are on the block. Like we get to make a decision whether these stay in our life or not. You just start with that first conversation, make it about 15 or 20 minutes. If it gets stressful, say, hey, you know what? Right now is not a good time. Let's come back. Let's come back to this in a couple of days. Right now, we're not in the frame of mind for this. But you start opening up and you both start thinking about this is where we are. And then once you start to get in that rhythm, once you start, here's what I'd like to do. And maybe it's you want to upgrade house, or maybe you need to buy a new vehicle, or maybe it's just taking that vacation. You start sharing with each other, this is what I would like to do. This is what I'd like for our family, for us. And you start moving that conversation towards that. Then once that becomes regular, you start having that conversation weekly instead of avoiding it and sitting in and going, hey, here's where we are. This is what's getting paid this week. This is what's coming in this week. Is there anything that's important to you?
That's good. Wow. That's just even listening to you is calming. Honestly, I was like, oh, this is so calm. I love this. I love that because it is, it can be a very stressful conversation. I like how you said if you start noticing that it is becoming stressful, take a break. I love how you said, you know, keep it to 20 minutes, not hours and hours, which is what we end up doing and stuff. And so I love all of that, which of course leads me to the next question. So how does a mom's relationship with money, how does that affect her children? And then what does a healthy, like, how can we model financial stability and health, like in a healthy way for our children?
I don't think anybody likes the word no.
Yeah.
And I don't,
Yeah.
I experienced hearing no plenty of times growing up,
Mhm.
especially, especially after I was about 10, 11 years old. I was an only child up until I was 10. So
Okay.
there was, you know, a dual income. And then my mom became a mom with a stay-at-home mom. Experiencing no was something that I, you know, experienced a lot. So when
Mhm.
my kids were younger, I really didn't want that to be their story. And so it wasn't necessarily no as much as it was, let's do that later. Or
Mm,
how can, you know, let's do that. Maybe not today, but maybe we do that next week.
that's good.
And so
Yeah.
just always, you know, if you're always telling them no, but the other thing is they know when you're stressed about spending money. So if you're planning, even like going to the grocery store, plan and let them know you can choose one thing. You get to choose one thing that you want and keep them involved so
Mhm.
that they feel like they have a decision. And then as they get older into the teenage years, start kind of pushing some of that as to their decision. Again, you can have anything you want, but you can't have everything you want. So you get to
Mm,
choose what you want.
that's
And when
right.
you start framing that in your mind, I get to choose, then that starts overflowing to them. They get to choose, but they don't get everything.
That's good. That's so good. That's so good. It is. It's so much about reframing,
It is.
just reframing instead of just, no, I can't. No, it's, you know, maybe not now, maybe later. Or is this the best thing for us right now? Or just, it is amazing how much of our life and the health of our life and the
Mhm.
health of our mindset in every area is all about just reframing.
Well,
That is interesting.
have you ever had a client or a child that had to eat gluten free or dairy free or
Mhm.
something like that? So
Oh,
the first
yes.
thing, my son ate gluten free for about 4 years. And at first it was, oh, he can't have this. Oh, he can't have that. And I realized every time that I was saying that he couldn't have something, he would get frustrated. So I
Yes.
made a list and I started saying, oh, he can have this. And so even when we were in public and someone would say, can he have this? And I would say, well, this would be a better option. Well, he could have this. Or I would be prepared for the situation ahead of time. And maybe I might go, you know, stop in a grocery store and buy him a big bowl of cut fruit, have it ready. And he felt like he got something that was important to him. And it wasn't like
Mhm.
he was missing out. So when
Yes.
you are, you know, it's that same way. You start framing your money as I get to do this. It's not, I don't get to do anything.
Yes. Yes. That's good. That's it. Good. So good. So good. Yes. And no, I work with so many women who have to eat in a different way to support the healing of her body. And so it is so important to see everything that you get and the end results of that as you make those decisions. So then applying that to finances, everything you get, and then the results of those decisions. I love it. So I know you said that Psalm 27:14 is one of your favorite verses. And when I saw that, I was like, that's so funny because that's engraved on the inside of our wedding rings is Psalm 27:14. So I was like, I love it. I love it. So how do you use this verse to coach your clients, to encourage your clients? How do you use that?
That verse goes back to 1998 for me. My brother was facing a trial, a literal
Mm,
trial. And it was a situation where we were dumbfounded about the issue.
hmm
And, I was really upset, you know, really, but I'm the oldest by 10 years and 11 and a half years. So
hmm
I'm in control kind of person anyway. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
that's something the Lord's really had to deal with me about. But I remember I was about to walk out the door and the Lord stopped me and told me to turn to Psalm 27. Now, you know,
hmm
I've been in church all my life. I got saved when I was 13,
hmm
but I didn't know the exact what exactly Psalm 27 was, but that's just what he gave me. And so when I read it and I got to that very last verse of wait upon
Yes.
the Lord,
Yep.
and that be of good courage. And I stepped out the door. I headed, to meet my parents and to meet my brother, and I knew that he was in control.
Yes.
And from there, when I'm talking to somebody and I'm like, they want to do something right now, like they've got something they want, and I'm just like, what's gonna change it if you wait? What's gonna change it? I remember, like, after Tim and I got out of debt in 2010, I wanted a new vehicle. I was driving the mom van, okay?
Yeah.
And I didn't tell anybody that when I got in that van, I would sit there. I never told my husband, never told my kids. All the years that I drove that van, I would get in it and go, I'm in an SUV. I'm in an SUV. I'm not driving a van. And nothing wrong with the mom van. It just it
Yes.
wasn't me. And
I
so
understand.
we after we got out of debt, I wanted a vehicle so bad. And my husband's like, we just got out of debt. We're not going back into debt. Now he's you usually have a spender and a saver. I'm the spender. I'm,
Yes.
admittedly the spender. And so he said, you've got to wait. He said, I want the money saved to buy the vehicle before we buy the vehicle. And we saved for 3 years to buy that vehicle. And so we had the money in the bank by the time we bought the vehicle. It didn't hurt me, right? And I felt more
No.
confidence and I felt better going on that lot, knowing that I could get what I want. I didn't have to sacrifice and say, oh, I'll take this lower version, or, oh, this is not what I planned for. I got to get exactly what I wanted. And that gratification of waiting those 3 years, like, debt can't pay, debt cannot give you that satisfaction.
No, no. This is so good, honestly, Melinda, because as you were talking, I was thinking about so many of my clients come to me with dysregulated nervous systems, and just even that about just, waiting on the Lord for 3 years while you just steadily saved the money and sacrificed because this was something that you really wanted. And God does give us the desires of our hearts. He doesn't think they're all ridiculous, but just even that, while you were talking about that, I just felt like such a calmness and such a peace about that. Instead of this, we have a tendency as women to be very just fast paced and making quick decisions and getting this, grabbing that. And all of that just serves to dysregulate our nervous system, to cause our anxiety to skyrocket, which then affects our hormones. And it's just this crazy cycle. And so I love that. Wait on the Lord and he will strengthen your heart. Yes, I say wait on the Lord. And it is so, so beautiful. So Melinda, thank you so much for being with me here on Everyday Health for the Christian Woman for the last couple of weeks. So if a woman wants to work with you, where can she find you?
All the socials, you'll find me under Melinda Chapman or Chapman Financial Coaching. And they can also look at my website, melindachapman.com. But I would love for you to really find the 15-minute money reset and download that and join my email.
Wonderful. And I will put all of the links in the show notes. Melinda, once again, thank you so much for being here with me. I appreciate you and what you're doing. Thank you. Bye.
Such a wonderful interview and so encouraging with Melinda Chapman. I would encourage you to grab the 15-minute money review. You'll find the link in the show notes. And please, if this episode encouraged you and gave you hope, which is my heart, would you please leave a review, share it with a friend? If you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and hit the little bell so you'll be alerted to the next Everyday Health for the Christian Woman podcast. And go ahead, grab that 15-minute review. And if you find that you are struggling with low energy, high anxiety, digestive issues that just won't quit, or any type of hormone imbalance, I created a workshop just for you. So go ahead and find that in the show notes. And until next time, remember that health is a journey, but it is a journey worth taking.